Welcome to Artistic Adventures. I just finished the Baby Yoda project, or at least I just finished showing it to you, and I know some of you had commented that you wanted to see the issues with the silicone baby that I made. So here it is. So I have a lot of things to show you today. I just want to show you this because I think there's a lot of learning experiences here. So I decided I wanted to make a silicone baby after I made the Baby Yoda. Well, actually, while I was making the Baby Yoda. And so I got this little tiny silicone baby to try out using the paints because I'd never used the silicone paints before. And as I explained in that Baby Yoda video, this is not like paints that you would use on, like acrylic paint or oil paint, where you could have, some hope of correcting your problem. The paints for silicone are basically silicone. So when you put a tint in it, you can paint things on it, but you can't erase it or cover it up very easily. So what I learned on this baby was that, basically. And so she is a mess. Here, let me just get you guys close so you can see this poor little baby. So she's horrible. I mean, she's got, well, here's a good example, like right here where I was trying to paint that, like some areas got paint and didn't, and even though I was sort of splotching it on, it just really wasn't easy. And she had a couple of areas that needed to be, she had a bubble here I had to fill in, and I think, oh yeah, one here. So I didn't do a very good job of filling that in. It was, and see the side, like I would do her on the front and then do her on the back, and instead of doing like one color and then switching and doing the same color and then go back and do this like this, I did it like the coats all on the back before I turned her over. And that's why she has these lines, because it built up and it didn't meld together, and which it would have done if I had done like a coat of blue here and a coat of blue here and a coat of green here and a coat of green and yellow, like that kind of stuff. So, yeah, so anyway, she has this outfit that covers everything up. And that's what she's going to wear because she's ugly. I mean, she would have been a cute little baby, but I messed her up. But I had to learn, and it was better to learn on something inexpensive. I bought the blank for this doll, and then I painted it. I didn't, make the silicone blank part, and I'll probably never get her back in there. But anyway, so she lives in her hoodie onesie so that nobody can see how badly I painted her body. Her face is not too bad. So we'll just leave her there. All right, so after that, I got this doll. It's a little bit bigger. And I also got him as a blank. And so what I want to say about him is that I didn't do as bad on him, although I feel like he probably needs more color. But how adorable is this little diaper? And this is a real Pampers, by the way. There are actually babies this size that need diapers in the hospital. This little boy, and I didn't do too bad on him. At least it's not splotchy looking. So I was kind of happy with that. Did use a pink color in his eyes that I didn't really like. But the cool thing is, this site called Cheers and Bows on Etsy, they have all these little tiny pacifiers and stuff. And so he can actually have a pacifier. He came with a little rattle. It's a little rattle. And he came with a pacifier that I can't find now because it was a blue one like this pink one. So little. But they have these, and even down to like this teeny tiny little size. Let me come in closer so you can see. This is crazy, right? How little this is. So they have little tiny blanks if you want to go on there and buy a silicone baby that you can afford. Yeah. that's all I could afford was this guy. But he's cute. I mean, I think he's really cute. And I may go back and add some more color to him now that I'm sort of learning more about what I do. He is two-piece, so he has the seam here as well as, the head. He has the seam here on his sides as well as the head sprue. So, he's really cute though, and I have actually found clothes for him. He's supposed to be, I think he's supposed to be 11 inches, but honestly, he fits clothes that are like 7 inches, so that's how I kind of buy clothes for him. There are clothes on Etsy for this size doll, so as you can see, I had him in this little onesie, which is cute. Little gray onesie. That has feet in it even. And then he has, the hat. So, like I said, that site has even bottles, like a little tiny bottle like that, a little tiny bottle like that. Bottles this size. Even that size bottle. It's so cute. And I have a little girly rattle too. Even these, remember these, the nightlight worm? I can't remember what they were called exactly, but they light up. You squeeze them and they light up. It's got a battery in it. So cute. So they have a little toy, and they sell these little diapers. So like this is the little preemie diaper like he's wearing. How tiny is that? And then they have the P1 through the P3. So like these are P3. These are P2. They sell those individually, so you don't have to buy like a whole box on whatever and spend your money if you're only going to have like one diaper, because they don't really use a diaper. Okay, so those were my first experiments. Then I decided, since I ruined that little girl, I was going to get another little girl. This one's actually a different mold, and it's a little bit bigger than the other one. So I just finished painting her, and I think I did a much better job on her. And I even put hair on her. I don't know if you can see that. But I'll show you. Isn't that a cute little outfit? Yeah. So I think I did a better job on her. She's smoother. I did have one little boo-boo here where I got some blue or green paint that blotched up. The thing is, I've learned that here's the rule, is never put paint where you can't see. So like if she's like this and I'm putting it on, don't try to come over here where you can't see and put it unless you actually roll her over, because 9 times out of 10 this is what happens. You get a splotch and you don't know that you got it until it's dry, and then the only way to get rid of it would be to cut it off. And I did root her hair. I put some hair on her just so she would look kind of like a real baby. But she's not too bad. She's not too bad. Probably still don't have the colors exactly right. And putting the colors on a smaller doll is much harder because you kind of tend to do the same technique or whatever that you do on a larger doll. And sometimes that's just too much paint, too much concentration of color. You have to really do the colors as if you can almost not see them. And then eventually, it all does kind of come together. But, yeah, she's kind of cute. And I did actually find a little outfit for her. Okay, so that's that story. Now, at this point, I decided I was going to do a larger size. I didn't want to do like a full-size baby, like, a newborn would be about 19 or 20 inches probably. So I thought I'll do kind of a preemie size. So this was the first one that I did. This is what I call the possessed cursed child. Here's what happened with this doll. So first of all, for this one I was using Super Sculpey, okay, which I used for Baby Yoda. And I had this problem with Baby Yoda that it cracked in places. And this one cracked as well. Also, around the neck, when I reheated it to, like I did the body separate and then I did the head. And then when I put them together and put this around here, it really didn't harden that well. Like, this is even still right now. I could put my fingernail through that. It's so soft. So I had the, piece of aluminum foil coming down just like I did for Baby Yoda. And I still have the body. Well, let me pull that out. Yeah, this is what was left after I pulled it out of the mold. So, like I had the head down in there with the aluminum foil. So I did have lots of cracks that I had to try to fill in, and that I didn't like. This arm had a crack, and then the wrist had a crack. So I did fill them in pretty well, just like I did on Baby Yoda. And so we got to the point where I was going to, where I baked the two together to do the neck. And when I pulled it out, the sprue fell off. It didn't attach when I baked it, even though I had pulled it down. So I thought, okay, I will put some super glue, E6000, my favorite, E6000. Glue it to the head, because it was fitted, and that would work. So I came in and, oh wait, that's not what happened. Okay, here's what happened. I remember now. I baked it with this on it, and I came in and started the process, where I have it upside down like this, and I'm putting the coats of the silicone on. And it wasn't exactly steady. So I thought, I'm going to watch it. I'm just going to watch it. And I think once it sets around the bottom, the first coat, I think it'll be okay. So I watched this doll for like at least 30 minutes before I got up and left. It didn't budge. I got up and left to go feed my lizards, and I heard thunk. Sure enough, it's fallen over. Okay, so it broke this arm off. The wire is still on it, so it's hanging there, but it's broke. It broke this hand off, broke some fingers, broke some toes, there's a crack in one of the hips. So I had to go back and fix the cracks in there, put that on. So I knew I couldn't, rebake it again, because this wasn't, already kind of cooked, this piece. So I put E6000. That's what happened. Okay, so I put E6000 on, and I was like, that's going to hold it. That will stick good. That'll be solid. And it seemed, it was. It got hard. I left it overnight. I didn't try to do it right away. It's like pretending to be patient. Okay, so I come back, and then I do it again. I set it up and started putting the silicone on. And as I'm watching it, the baby starts to go like this. And what is happening is the silicone and the E6000 apparently had a chemical reaction, and it deactivated the E6000. So the head just starts sliding, starts slipping in this hole, the sprue, which is kind of concave. So it's just like sliding. So I thought, if I can just hold it up until it solidifies. So I'm like holding it like by one finger, on the hand, with my gloves on, trying to keep it up. And finally, I just realized it just kept slipping, even though I was trying to hold it. So I just had to, I laid it down on the table where there was plastic, and I left. And I went to bed, and I got up the next morning, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I peeled all the silicone off again, off the baby, what that had dried. Got the head. This time I used the, what's it called? The meld. I've used it before when I put the head in. JB Meld. Yeah. Mold. Yeah. Right? Weld. JB Weld. Yeah. All right. And I knew that would not activate because I had used it on the neck. So that's solid. That is still solid. That is not going anywhere. So I came in and started over, set it up, started putting the silicone on, and I could tell that there was some cracks showing in the neck. But I said, you know what? Even if it is, I can repair the silicone once it's out. So I just went ahead, let it mold, put on 6 coats of the dragon skin, and I thought, okay, I'm there. So let me tell you about this mistake. Where is that? Oh, I thought I had my mold here somewhere. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, well, anyway, what happened was the 6 coats is just not enough. It's not enough that once you take out the clay body, it doesn't have the strength to sort of keep it in place. And that's a problem, especially on the back when you start doing the seam. You don't have the strength for putting that seam back together and having it dry all together. So I could tell that was going to be a problem, but I finally, I got it to the point that it was done. And, at this point I'm thinking, when I mold this baby in silicone, it is going to come out like Rosemary's Baby. Its head will be spinning, there'll be horns, hairy hooves, things like that. So, I decided, well, we're just going to try it. So I put it in its mother mold, and I realized that when I had put it in the mother mold, oh, that was the other thing. I didn't do the mother mold while the clay was still in the silicone, which you're supposed to do. That way you have the hard baby to mold the mother mold around, So I'd already taken the baby out, and all I had was this soft thing. So what I did is stuff it with fiberfill to give it the shape, and then I tried to do the mother mold. Well, I didn't realize when I did it that there was a pinch. This is the baby that came out, by the way. It's a little bit possessed, but not much. And there was a pinch right in here where the mother mold was pinching into the dragon skin mold. So if I had molded it like that, there would have been this indentation into the baby's belly. So I've already got silicone into the mold. It's filled up to about here. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll lift the baby up, put some fiber fill under it in the mother mold so it will hold it up, and that piece won't be in it, but it'll still support the arms and the legs and the head and everything. All right, here's what happened. And then I had to go somewhere, and I was in a hurry. This is what happens when you're in a hurry. So I left, and when I came back, I took it out of the mold, and here's what happened. Yeah, it got mooshed. Its butt got mooshed where I stuck the fiberfill. So yeah, it was not foofy enough to hold it up. The silicone was liquidy, and it just pushed down in it. Now, the good thing was that the hands came out, the little feet came out. I mean, it actually, that part of it was good. Now, I think because it wasn't stiff enough, I didn't put enough coats on, that the face is a little bit squished. If you look at the face, it looks like the chin is squished some, and it's like shorter. Because this is a pretty cute face. I was actually pretty pleased with its face. So I thought, well, it's another teaching experience. I'm going to go ahead and paint it to get the experience with putting the paint on the body before I do another one. So I started doing that, and I was using Platzel instead of the Psycho paint that I used on Baby Yoda. I was using Platzel because it's softer and it dries pretty fast. So I started using that. But you can see what happened is, like, it's so smooth. It doesn't look like the rest of the baby. And then it just started peeling off where I had put it to fill in areas that, made a hole. It just peeled off. And so at that point, I was like, there's nothing about this project that went right. Nothing that I can save. I can't do anything to save this to make it even look like a baby, even if I keep it in a onesie so you can't see that its butt is deformed. So at that point, I put it in a plastic bag, and I just put it away. I was so frustrated. This is an expensive thing to do and a time-consuming thing to do. From the Baby Yoda project how long it took. and silicone itself is expensive. So this was a huge waste of money. I won't say it was a complete waste of time because I learned everything you cannot do with this one. All right. So that's the story of that possessed child over there. All right, let me put this up so I'm not going to get mixed up with the other one. And I don't really want to look at it anymore. Although the head is still kind of cool. So, next I started this baby. Now this baby I'm using soft Fimo, which by the way you can't find in the 1 pound or is it 2 pound block in the flesh tone in the United States of America. Yeah, the greatest country allegedly in the world. We're not saying it, we're sure about that right now with, current political issues. But I'm just saying you should be able to find Fimo soft in flesh tone in a 2 pound block. No, you cannot. Even on Amazon, when you order it, it's coming from Australia or Britain or somewhere else, okay? So I had to wait like 3 weeks to get it. I think this first one I got from Australia. So I started with the head, as usual, and I had a new plan, and that was I'm going to use this wooden dowel. This is going to save me from the issue that I had with the baby falling over. I'm not going to deal with that anymore. Never again. So I have this block, and this dowel fits in here. Now, somewhere between me starting and ending, I had it measured so that this would be right on that. That would give it more stability. Somehow or other, it got moved up. So that was an issue, and I had to put aluminum foil under there when I was putting the dragon skin on it. And the problem with the Fimo Soft is it's very, very soft. Once you get it malleable and warmed up, it's very hard to keep something in shape while you work on another area. I did put the ears on after I had baked the rest of the head, and it came out okay. I did have one crack here. Otherwise, it did not crack. And I'm not sure why my stuff is cracking. I'm trying to do it the right way. I condition it. I don't make sure the oven is the right temperature. I don't bake it too long. When I first baked it, it didn't crack. But when I put the ears on and baked it again, it did crack. So, yeah. But it didn't crack as much as the Super Sculpey. I will say that. It definitely didn't. But the Super Sculpey was easier to mold, to work with, sculpt. Alright, so I had the head, I got the body. I put, the head on. I did the dragon skin. So I'm thinking, this is working. I might actually get somewhere. And I want to show you, this is the difference. You see, I did go ahead and do the 9 coats, so this holds its shape pretty well. Even when it's like this, it's holding its shape. And I made sure I had enough layers here of this so that when I locked it in place that it would hold. And this did work well, I have to say. This was an important lesson to learn. You can't skimp on it. And the only reason I was really trying to skimp, it wasn't really the money issue so much as it was, the issue really was that I thought it would make it easier for me to get the fingers out, both the clay and the finished silicone baby, because I have such a hard time with my hands. And I ended up having to cut the mold, and I cut it underneath here so it wouldn't show as much. I didn't cut it on the top of the hand or the bottom, whatever, mess it up. I thought it would show least on the bottom. Same thing on the feet. I cut on the inner inside right there, okay? Now, this is going okay, and so, I had to do that to get the clay baby out, and then I patched it. I put clay over it. I put clay in the seam, let that dry, then I came and put coat thickened clay over the seams. Alright, so I'm ready. I got my baby. I'm, finished with all that. So now I start to fill it up. And I've got it setting up like this in the mother mold. The liquid silicone started pouring out of this hand. The seam did not hold. And I really didn't know what to do. I mean, I wasn't prepared for that. So I was trying to hold it like this, and I called my husband. I thought, well, maybe I could put some thick 5X on it to thicken it, and it will, hold. I thought, maybe it'll, or maybe some of the silicone glue. I tried everything, and nothing was working. And so finally, I threw it in a plastic bag so it would drain out the rest in there, and I went to bed. So at this point, I'm really discouraged, but I persevered to endure. I came back the next day, and what I did is I put silicone in it, and then I wrapped a piece of fabric around the area where this was, and put silicone on top of that. So I thought that will hold it, that'll be like tape or glue or whatever. It'll hold it together so that the silicone wouldn't spread it out and make that break when I put it in it. So I did that. I started pouring it in again, and a little bit of silicone started coming out here, and I thought, what am I going to do? Anyway, I took the fabric and I just held it like this, and I held it, folks, I held it for 45 minutes. I sat and held it until it congealed enough that it wouldn't come out. Yeah, so that's that story. And I also realized as I was doing it that this thumb pointing up was not going to work, and this thumb pointing up was probably not going to work, because the silicone goes to the lowest level, and as it comes up, it's not going to go up into this. So even though I tried to squeeze it, to get air out and get silicone in it, it still didn't work really. It did okay in the toes. I did have one little bubble on a toe, but this is something you have to think about when you're making the clay baby, is the flow of the silicone is how you make the baby going to work, So I won't probably be using this again. It didn't work. It's not a good design, and I spent a lot of time and money on it, but it didn't work. However, I did get the baby out, and I have painted her mostly, I think. Let's see, let me make this go up a little bit. So, I did paint her. I did her hair. So she's got like sort of like a peach fuzz that a little baby, preemie baby might have. I did her eyelashes. I don't know what this white lint stuff is. I even put some hair, light colored hair, in for her eyebrows. You can't really see it unless you're really close to her. I opened up her mouth and put pink silicone in there so she could take a passy or a bottle. As I suspected, the thumb came out. I'm going to get this a little closer so you can see. I mean, I think she's kind of cute, but of course I made her. You can see her eyelashes over here. They're really thick. And she has glass eyes that I inserted. I cut out the eye. And this thumb, the top part did not mold. So I had to build it up with some thickened silicone so it doesn't really look like the sculpt did. It just looks like a blob. And I did try to put like the fingernail stuff on it to make it look like it was a nail, but it is what it is. This part molded pretty good. I did this because when I was a baby, I used to suck these two fingers like this. Let me put them in there. This is what I did. They're almost too big for her mouth. I sucked those and I stroked my hair like this. I sucked these two fingers, not my thumb. So that's why I did the mold like that. This hand is just like a regular hand. Alright, so let me take her clothes off so you can see her. I really think I need to add more paint. I don't think I have her quite colorful enough. Although when you look at babies, I mean, their skin, a white baby anyway, is pretty translucent. And they don't really have a whole super lot of color. And I don't like the babies that have a lot of the red color. Like, sometimes you'll see the red creases, you know, painted in, like where the joints are and stuff. To me, it looks like it's infected. Like it needs to be dried out and put some powder on it. But this is how she turned out. I mean, as far as all the problems, she pretty much came out the way I made her. You know, so if you know she doesn't look good, it's my fault because my deficiencies in being able to make her. I don't think that she's colored exactly right. There's places where I think she is, and then there's places where I don't think. I was able to fill in, you know, the back pretty well, and the head looks pretty good where the spout was. So I'm happy with that. And the toes, you know, came out pretty good. There was one bubble, let's see, on this toe? Yeah, on this toe that I had to fill in. But, yeah, I mean, for my second one, it's not bad. And I really almost consider it the first one. Because of the other one, I don't want to claim at all. Anyway, it was a little bit of a letdown because the Baby Yoda came out so great. I guess that's the bottom line. And was easier, and I didn't have these problems. I don't know why, it just did. So, her also, the way I put the paint on, I sort of, you know, did like this patting motion with a brush instead of a sponge. There were areas where I did use a sponge to smooth it out, but I feel like it should be smoother. It's a little bit rough looking. It doesn't look like baby skin. So next time I do it, I'm going to use a different technique to put the color down instead of using the brush, and see if that works. And I want to make a little bit bigger baby, one that's more like a life size, maybe 18 or 19 inch. And so that one would be fatter. So this is supposed to be a preemie, and that's why I don't have her, you know, being really thick with a lot of, you know, rolls of fat or anything. As a preemie, she would not have a lot of fat. So, you know, she has a little bit of a wrinkle there and a little bit of a wrinkle there, and a tiny bit here at the crease of the ankle and the foot. You know, but that's really about it. You know, this crease here, which is normal, the smiley face under the belly. So, yeah, not too bad for that. I did, and while I've been working on all this other stuff, you know, in between waiting for silicone to dry, you know, this is off the topic of silicone, but still, the babies. I got this. This is not a newborn. This is not a reborn kit. This is a baby that I got that just was all together. The whole body was vinyl, and I cut the arms off. I cut the legs off. I cut the head off, and I sort of made my own kit. I just wanted to practice using the Ultimate Fusion, the paint that dries by air. She's got, you know, a cloth body. So this was my practice doll for that. And she's not, you know, a great reborn because of the fact that I, you know, had to put things together to make her. One of the things you'll notice is like her head there's no neck at all. It's like right into the shoulder, so she looks like a linebacker a little bit. But the coloring went much easier on this than the coloring on the first silicone doll. So let me zoom in so you can see that. So yeah, that turned out pretty good. I did not put any hair on her because, like I said, it's more of a practice doll than anything. Now, the doll that I did do that I'm really proud of, that I think turned out super, is another reborn I bought. a kit this time, and I made this doll for the little girl that my nephew is adopting from Liberia. And I actually have the painting of this doll on video, and I'm going to post it. But I think she turned out really, really nice. I think she looks so realistic. So I'll show you how I painted this doll in maybe my next video. And I did, put some hair on her. She's 15 inches. She has, the doe skin body and the full arms and legs. And I really love how she turned out. I think the coloring on her is really awesome. Let me get you closer on her face. I think she looks so realistic. Yeah, I'm happy with her. Yeah, so I made her for the little girl who will be my great niece that they're adopting, and they have not picked her up yet. They're waiting to get word that all the paperwork and everything with the government is ready, and then they'll fly over to Liberia and pick her up and bring her home, and her name is Blessing. And I can't wait to present this doll to her. I mean, I'm sure she's only 4, she may be 5 by the time they actually, return and, get everything settled. And she'll probably, have fun with it and mess it up, but I don't really care. I wanted her to have a really beautiful doll. And I wanted to, to make the doll and try my hand at it, which, was another part of it. But just to give her a beautiful black skin doll was a real passion for me. Now, they do have another daughter who is 6, who is Caucasian, of course, their daughter. And the next project I'm going to do is to paint that doll. I have a kit for her. And in case you want to know, let me find the name of this kit. Yeah, this is Leighton Rose. I got it from, where did I get it? Either from Irresistibles or from Sandy's Doll Shop. I can't remember. But she's 15 pounds, and she looks really nice. She's a Marita Winters doll, is the artist. And she did really well with the African American look. It doesn't have to be that way. She can be Caucasian, but I think she took that well. So, yeah, that's the fun I'm having. The silicone thing is so much more difficult than the reborn thing. I do understand now why they're expensive. I am going to try to make another one and make use of all the mistakes that I've made and try to, do something a little bit better. But I think that's the process, with any art, to become proficient and really good, you just have to keep doing it. And that's something that I've learned over time and never really, I guess, prescribed to, because I like to do so many different things, and I was always getting sidetracked and saying, oh, I want to go do this, or oh, I want to do this. Until you sit down and really perfect something, that's when you can really be the artist in that area. Until you do, you're just really doing a hobby, and it may or may not turn out great. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little montage of these sort of dolls, and I'll probably do the video where I painted this doll next, just to show you the use of the Ultimate Fusion paints, in case you're interested. There was no way I was gonna oven dry paints in between coats. It's not gonna happen for this impatient girl. So I do think they're great. They do have some getting used to and some nuances that I'll talk about, when we do that video, just to give you some tips. But overall, I like the result, and I'm happy with them. So hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll give me some thumbs up, because that always helps us guys on YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed this experience of looking at all these silicone projects and what's out there, what you could do too. And make sure you subscribe, because I don't want you to miss a thing coming up. Thanks, and bye.